we have just had, and it's still going on, one of the most important movements in the country since the Tehreek-e-Pakistan, the movement for Pakistan. This movement was led by the lawyers, followed by the civil society, participated by the media, political workers, and in one of the most, what was most surprising thing in the country, that a dictator was forced to take back a chief justice under public pressure. Now this is, do not underestimate this movement. In my opinion, this movement will go on to make the Pakistan that it was meant to be. Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's Pakistan, as opposed to the Pakistan it has become, Asif Zardari's Pakistan. This movement started on the 9th of March last year, when for the first time in the history of Pakistan, a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court said no to a military dictator. And from then onward followed a series of events which, for all of those of us who participated in the movement, we all felt that we were participating in a movement that will lead to a genuinely democratic Pakistan, something which we've never had before. And in this movement, for the first time, participated the civil society, students of Pakistan. First time we saw stirring in the university campuses. The university campuses, which had become non-political, apolitical, suddenly you saw the youth of Pakistan inspired by this movement. The main credit goes to the media, the independent private TV channels that brought about this change, that brought about the political awareness in Pakistan, that allowed this lawyers' movement to succeed. So this is the hope for Pakistan, that we continue this movement until we have an independent justice system. Because unless you have an independent judiciary, you cannot have genuine democracy. Elections do not bring democracy. If elections brought democracy, then there should be democracy in Zimbabwe. There should be democracy in Egypt, because Hosni Mubarak has been holding elections for 30 years. We have had Islam Karimov in Uzbekistan for almost over 35 years. He's been holding elections. So elections don't bring democracy. Saddam Hussein held elections. Only if you have an independent justice system which protects an independent election commission, which then holds free and fair elections, where you actually have a government which cannot abuse power because of an independent justice system, is when you have the fruits of democracy. So Pakistan, unfortunately, after that very fateful decision by Justice Munir in 1954, led us to this present situation. We've never had rule of law. The ruling elite has always been above law. The judiciary has always been a B team of whoever is in power. So what we have had is whoever has been in power has abused it. Whenever someone has been in power, they have had immunity from the justice system. Only the political opponents can be brought in front of a court of law. The classic case of how our justice system has worked was the case of Asif Zardari, that in 1988 there were corruption cases against him, but the judiciary didn't do anything because People's Party was in power. The moment People's Party went out of power, Asif Zardari went to jail. The moment People's Party went back into power from jail, he went to the Prime Minister house. Again, when they went out of power, from Prime Minister house back to jail. And now you have this classic, I mean, this is a classic, which is why we have to fight for an independent justice system. That we have an ordinance called the National Reconciliation Ordinance, brokered by none other than those who have lectured us about democracy and human rights for so many years, the United States. The United States brokered this National Reconciliation Ordinance between People's Party and General Musharraf in a power-sharing deal so that they would have a government which, quote, would be liberal. Liberal government in Muslim countries means those who take commands from the State Department. So they brokered this agreement through which the entire political class has been exempted from anything. It includes corruption cases worth billions of rupees. It includes thousands of murder cases. Asif Zardari himself was charged with 4 murder cases. MQM had thousands of murder cases against them. All have been wiped out by this National Reconciliation Ordinance. Whereas, if you have happened to witness the jails in Pakistan, which I happened to spend a week in, you will discover that you only find poor people in jails. You can't find a rich criminal in Pakistani jails. You will find them in our National Assembly, plenty of them. Ministers, a lot of ministers criminals. A governor in Karachi has 18 murder cases on him. And now, of course, we have a president. He has, 3 governments have accused him of siphoning off over $1.5 billion. But they've all got immunity. In the jails, and this is the shocking thing, that the DIG jails in a seminar said that 60% of all people in jails in Pakistan, there are about 140,000 prisoners, 60% of them are innocent. This is the DIG jail telling in a seminar that 60% of all prisoners in jails are innocent. So on one hand, you have the situation where you have a ruling elite completely exempt from from the rule of law. On the other hand, you have the common people having no access to the rule of law. So therefore, not surprisingly, Pakistan is considered one of the most corrupt countries in the world according to Transparency International, because the political class wants to be above law. And so the contradiction in terms that here they are talking about People's Party's election campaign said they wanted an independent justice system. They still say we want an independent judiciary. But they do not want Chief Justice Iftikhar. That's where the contradiction lies. And this is where the battle lines are drawn. In Pakistan, the battle lines are not what the Americans would want us to believe between liberals and fundamentalists. This is a false divide in Pakistan. It is actually between status quo and anti-status quo. People who want a change, who want rule of law, who want a genuine democracy, and those people who want this system, this undemocratic system to continue. And this is reflected we would never have known who was on which side of the divide until the Chief Justice took a stand. And we still would not have known had we not had the results of the elections on 18th of February. 18th of February, the people came out and for the first time in our history defeated the establishment. It's never happened before. They actually went out to vote against Musharraf. And according to all the opinion polls, there were 3 things the voters went to vote for. Over 80% of the people who voted wanted the Chief Justice reinstated. Over 80% of the people wanted Musharraf out and a democratic setup in. And over 80% of the people wanted the situation in the tribal area to be resolved through dialogue, not through military means. This is very significant. They did not want the Pakistan army to go in there through bombs resolve the issue, but actually through dialogue.